Hi, and welcome to my channel. Yes, I'm wearing the same thing that I just wore in the last Monstrosity because I just ended it and now I'm starting a new one right now. Let's see where we are on the board and let's get ready to draw our first card. Okay, we're right here. We just finished Dear Mrs. Bird and we're continuing on this line of yellow before we hit our portal and it transports us to this line of gray. Okay, if you're just catching this and you didn't see the first one, it's totally fine. I started with this sunshine right here, and I went all the way around the blue, well, the second half of the blue, and then into the yellow. So I read these 6 books last time, the ones that are here, and I usually try to read about 5 books per episode. So here we go. The first draw, it's an 8. I love an 8. Okay, so with the 8s is we get to move forward 8 spaces and look at that prompt and then jump forward 2 and look at that prompt and then pick the one we want to do. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we get to do our little thing up here, 7, 8. So first letter, last letter, first letter is 8, and then 9, 10, I get to film a new TBR. I would normally love to do the new TBRs as they are fantastic to do, but I have an incredibly busy day today and I just do not have time. So I'm going to go with last letter, first letter. I'm so glad I get a choice about this. So the last letter in the book that I last read was a D, Dear Mrs. Bird. So I'm starting with the D and I have to find a book that starts with a D. There's Divinity's Twilight right there. The Donner Dinner Party right there. Death in 4 Courses. I'm honestly surprised by how many starts with a D. Daughter of the Empire? Wow. Okay, so I have a lot of options. I really want to do the Donner Dinner Party because it'll be done really fast. It's short. But I also have been really wanting to do Daughter of the Empire. It sounds like it's going to be so much fun. Let me go look and see what's available on my Libby app right now. Like what doesn't have to be put on hold. Okay, so Divinity's Twilight does not have audio. It's only an ebook on Everand. The Donner Dinner Party is a graphic novel, but it's available on Libby. I really want to get a copy of it myself. I love physically reading graphic novels. Anyway, then Death in 4 Courses and Daughter of the Empire, I have to pay for both of those. So we're going to go with Donner Dinner Party. It's a great way to kick off this round. It won't take me long to read it today. I'll grab a copy of it from the library, and I can even read it here on my computer and it'll be blown up, so it'll be a lot bigger than me trying to read it on my phone. Sometimes the panels are so small on the graphic novels that I read on my phone or even my iPad that it just makes it harder to do, which is why I want it physically. But anyway, I'm going to I'm going to reserve that one, and that's going to be my first read. So probably later today, I will be able to come and tell you what I think about the Donner Dinner Party, and we can draw our next card. Okay, no, I have not finished the Donner Dinner Party. However, I am about to be driving in the car for a little while, and I needed an audiobook to listen to while I drive since I can't read the graphic novel. So I had to come on here to see what's next. Please be nice to us. What? Another 8? Okay. For this round, we have drawn these 5 cards and 3 of them have been 8s. I mean, I'm not mad at it. It lets us choose, and I always like choosing. Let's see what we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Random letter by author. And then 1, 2 is a YouTube TBR book. So any book from one of my YouTube TBR games. I think I'm going to do the random author name. So let me do a random letter generator. Okay, random letter from A to Z, it says right here. And we have an I. Let's see if I have an author whose first or last name starts with an I. Okay, out of all of these, I have one. And it is Ian Smith, The Ancient Nine, right here. So that's what I'm going to be reading next, way up here on the top row. Okay, so I'm going to leave my son Oh my goodness, really? Grab the sun. I'm going to leave the sun over here on the Donner Dinner Party, but then I will be doing the Ancient Nine on audio, and I'll come talk to you about the Donner Party before Ancient Nine. So anyway, I just wanted to draw it. I'm so happy we're moving really far with some of these draws. We just need to avoid the others. Y'all, it's been so many days since I've checked in. I don't even know if I told you about the Donner Dinner Party. So I'm going to tell you about it. And then when I edit, if you're seeing this, then that means I didn't tell you about it. Anyway, if you don't know what the Donner Party is, the Donner Party is a group of people who got together in Missouri, and they were like, we would like to go west. Well, during this time, people were traveling west. They were going through what you probably have heard of as the Oregon Trail. Lots of bad things happened because it was literally just people with some wagons and some oxen, usually just horses or mules of some kind, pulling their whole family, their whole belongings, everything they owned across most of the western United States. Now, there were a couple of spots. At one point, you've got to cross the Rocky Mountains. And if you've never seen the Rocky Mountains, let me just assure you, they are very tall mountains, okay? And at some point, you've got to cross these mountains to get to your end destination, whether it be Oregon or California, just anywhere down the coast, you got to get across the Rocky Mountains. Now, usually, there are a couple of passes that they take, and the Donner Party, it's called that because there was a family called the Donners, okay? They decided that they were going to take a shortcut. Here's my thing. If a lot of people are going one direction and they have already established a route through this one direction, whether it takes longer or not to get there, let's please just stay on that established route. But no, they didn't. They decided that they would take a better route that had fewer people on it. So therefore, they wouldn't have to wait for all the crossings because literally you're racing against winter. Like you need to be able to get over those mountains before winter, or you need to stop and wait on the other side of the mountain, which then you run in the chance of running out of food. Anyway, what you don't want to do is exactly what the Donners did, which they got caught on top of the mountain during winter. And honestly, these mountains are cold enough to be considered winter, even when it's not winter. So they were stuck. And they ended up starving and having to eat their horses and then their other people who had died. So that is what happened with the actual Donner Party. And then like a few of them made it through the winter. So this is the Donner Dinner Party, written for middle grade children. I knew what to expect. I knew what the Donner Party was, but for some reason, I was like, oh, this is going to be a cute little book. Of course it was cute till people started dying. Anyway, that's what it was about. It was about the Donner Party in graphic novel form. So then it's time for The Ancient Nine by Ian Smith. And this book is about the secret clubs at Harvard. And y'all, at this point, I'm questioning myself if it is even Harvard that we're at because I do not care. But I'm pretty sure it's Harvard. Anyway, I do not care. I do not care. I don't know if it's building up to something that's going to be revealed, but I already think that these clubs that are super exclusive and like, okay, we're letting in a couple of black men, but they're still all men. And they find that somehow that's patting themselves on the back for being like, hey, we're diversifying. Like, no. Anyway, I just don't like any of it. This is told from the point of view of a guy in college who, and it's first person, by the way, who gets chosen or punched for one of these secret clubs. And it is the most prestigious one and the hardest to get into because it has a mystery attached to it where they're hiding a secret. What secret? Oh, we don't know. But they're hiding a secret in a room somewhere. And somebody tried to break in the 1920s and and disappeared. And we're sure that he got killed. But because they're all powerful and rich, nobody did anything about it, and he's just missing for 80 years or whatever. Anyway, no, I'm done. I have been doing everything I could to not have to read this book. And when that is the case, and it has taken me like 4 days to try to finish a book that's not even that long, I'm out. So this is going to be my first DNF of my game. But we're going to shuffle. And also, I decided something the other day. I was watching me playing Jokes on Me by Bailey, that Bailey came up with. Django would like to say hi. Hello, Django. So I was watching that, and I just realized how much fun it is when there's actual punishments in the thing, like you do have to start over, or maybe instead of starting over, I do one that says go back half. Like if I'm 30 spaces from the beginning, I have to go back 15. If I'm 80 spaces from the beginning, I have to go back 40. So I want to know what y'all think about that. I could add that as like the wild cards and try to do it that way. But I just want some kind of punishment. When I start playing round 3, I'm going back to the phase 10 cards, and I just want something to be like a huge punishment, like Jokes on Me, where you literally have to start over. So you guys give me some ideas. Okay, here we go. I'm only picking up the top half of the stack, and it is a jack. I don't know what a jack is. Move 11 spaces. How nice is that? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. No people on the cover. All right, let's get over here. The very first one, Servant Mage, has no people on the cover. However, I'm going to be driving, and I need an audiobook, and Servant Mage is not on audio. So it looks like we have an eye for an eye right here at the beginning, or 5 Total Strangers, or the Storm King, or In My Dreams I Hold a Knife. So we have so many options up here at the top. I think I'm going to go with 5 Total Strangers. That is from Amy's Game of Bookish Life that she picked for me. And I'm almost at the end of that TBR. So, okay, sorry that my phone rang. I am going to be reading 5 Total Strangers, and I moved it over here. So that's where I'm going to go. I am, yes, a little bit scared of it, but that's okay. It's going to be a mystery thriller on Libby, which is wonderful. Okay, and it's available right now. So I am actually going to have to take a break for a little bit. You guys won't know that. I'll just be right back to talk to you about 5 perfect strangers. No, 5 total strangers. Not perfect, total. And I'll tell you about it when I finish reading it. I know this looks weird and you're like, what? If you remember what it looked like last time. You know, some people don't remember, but you just saw it a few minutes ago, and I started reading 5 Total Strangers. I made a whole video that you can see here where I said I was going to be going ahead and drawing my next card because I'm almost finished with 5 Total Strangers. And so I drew, actually I dropped it on the floor, but I drew a joker, which means we go back 10 spaces, but we have to read a book at 5 and at 10. So on 5, I got a random color. As you can see over here, I got this orangey color that matches the Iron Flame cover fairly nicely. And then I got a reread author, and I chose Nora Roberts because she's at the top of my list, so she's been there the longest. And that is what I am going to be reading. So there was no audio, and it made me angry because I had already shuffled and drawn and chosen my books, and I was like, well, I've got to still talk about it. So I'm still coming back to talk about 5 Total Strangers. I'm almost finished with it. I've got just a few more chapters. So I'm going to finish that this afternoon. I'll be back to talk about it, and then I'll start Iron Flame. But then we'll end on Inheritance, which kind of sucks. We're going to end 10 spaces back from where we are right now. But that's okay. I want this one to be, I'm wanting this game to be more difficult, right? And have more pitfalls than it has right now. So speaking of that, though, some of you have already been using the information video that I put out about how I made the monstrosity, and you have made your own, and you have been sharing them with me, and I love them so much. So we will share those in a separate video. If you have used it and you want to share it with me, I am on Instagram. That is linked down below. I don't check it very often. So if you send me a message over there, I'm not ignoring you. I literally only check it every few days. I do not like social media, but I felt like I at least needed a presence somewhere. So I am on Instagram, but I'm not on it. Anyway, you can always DM me on Discord. I am on Discord every day. So anyway, that is going to do it. I will be back when I finish 5 Total Strangers and tell you all about it. Well, I finished 5 Total Strangers. Also, I think my voice is completely going away, which is bad because I have to go to work today at the library, and part of my job is to talk to people and answer questions. And anyway, I finished 5 Total Strangers, and I thought it was really good. Like, I gave it 4 stars. I didn't quite call what was going on. I knew what was going on. I didn't know who was doing it. So it was a nice twist. I did suspect, but we have 5 people in the car. One of them is our main character that we know something's happening to. So I only had 4 options. So I kind of suspected everyone at some point. So anyway, it was good. I really liked it. Now that I know who the bad person was, I like going back and thinking through the story, and I'm like, were there little hints along the way? Kind of, maybe. Anyway, I am now on Iron Flame, which is the second book after Fourth Wing. I have heard really bad things about this book, but I'm over halfway through the book, and I haven't seen anything that's bad yet. So, I mean, I think it's just the same as the first one, on par with the first one. There's plenty of dinosaur interaction. I'm sorry, but did I just say dinosaurs? Okay, they're dragons. They're actually dragons. I thought the relationship, or I think so far, the way the relationship between Violet and a person is developing. I mean, I think it seems real, or definitely not insta-lovey, which is kind of how it felt in the first book. They're actually dealing with problems and actually dealing with them and working through things and talking through things, and I like it. Like, I don't have any faults so far. It's not like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing I've ever read, but it's also like just as good as other things I've read. So anyway, I'm going to finish Iron Flame, and I'll be back to talk about it, and then I will finish The Inheritance, and we'll be done with this episode. These episodes are going to slow down. I know I've been putting them out pretty quickly right here, but that's because that's all I was doing. But in the month of June, I got a big camp season-a-thon that I'm going to be a counselor for, and then there's another readathon that I am working on in a team as well, the Wonderthon number 2. So these will be slowing down, but then I will probably pick everything back up once June is over. And then when we finish the next round, I'm going to be changing up some things. I'm at least going to change the colors and just the way the game looks. So if any of you want to play around with the colors or how my game looks and you want to make me a game board, I'm not going to turn that down for sure. But I want to do something different starting with round 3 of it. And I like with 5 crowns how I have the possibility to go back, but I don't really have one of those for phase 10 other than the wild. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the wild card only be backwards, and I'm going to change it to a D10 instead of a D6. I think that's what I'm going to do instead of the coin flip for one or the other, because the skip is just a move forward 4. And so I'm thinking that the skip is going to be a card that I get to hold on to for when I want to skip a prompt instead of moving at all. I think that's what I'm going to do. So that's one of the changes I was thinking about making for the phase 10 side of it. And we'll just talk about it when we get there. It does not matter. I'll be back when I finish Iron Flame. Orange Flame? What? Okay, so I finished Iron Flame and I am on Inheritance. It's the last one for this episode. So when I finish it, I'll come back, discuss it, and then we'll close it out. But Iron Flame, let's see. Number one, it was 27 hours on audio. Like, it was really big. And I was like, what are we going to do for this whole time? And there were a couple of problems that I had with it. I gave it 3.5 stars, by the way. First of all, I feel like the characters kept having the same fight over and over and over and over, especially our main two characters. And earlier I said how much I liked that they weren't just insta-lovey and they were actually working through stuff, but they didn't seem to actually work through stuff. And I feel like the big reveal for our main male character happened and I didn't know what it meant when she said it. So I lost some of the meaning behind it, or some of the surprise, I guess, because it had been so long since they had referenced this thing that I just didn't know. I didn't know what was going on. So after she explained to us, I was like, oh, okay, I get it. But I don't know. I also didn't love the ending. I don't mind when books continue in series. Of course, I have a lot of series that I read, but I like for the books to at least end. And then we know what's coming up next in a sort of like the next thing these characters do, not in a he walked out of the room and the book ended and then the next book is going to pick up where he walked out of the room. Those are a little too cliffhangery for me, which maybe that is the point of these books. I don't know. Anyway, I read it. I don't hate it. I love the dragons. I love what we found out about the dragons in this one, and I will definitely read the next book, if for nothing else than to find out what's going on with the dragons. But anyway, that's it. I'm reading The Inheritance, very first page. The person that we're in their point of view dies. And I'm like, what? What's happening? And then I realized it's called the Lost Bride trilogy. So anyway, I do know that this book is called The Inheritance, or just Inheritance, and our main character broke up with her fiance and has found out that her dad had a twin brother that he didn't know about because they were adopted. And the twin brother found out about her just before he died, and he has given her everything. So that is where I am so far. And that clearly is what inheritance means. And now we'll find out what happens. But it's just been a really long time since I've read a Nora Roberts romance. So I've been reading J.D. Robb for so long that it's weird to read her write something else. Anyway, I'm going to read it. I'll check back in when I finish. Okay, remember when I said I was letting my hair grow out? I'm letting my hair grow out. I finished Inheritance, and that means this episode is over. Inheritance. Oh my gosh. First of all, I thought it was Nora Roberts, like romancy stuff, and so I was like, okay, great. Let me read this. It was, however, it came out last year in like October-November time frame. So it is book one of a trilogy, and only book one has been written. And this literally ended. What did I just say in the last thing that I talked about? I said I don't like it when it ends with somebody walking out of the room and then it's over. And the next one is you walk into a room. Literally, this one ended with people walking out of a room. And I was like, what? Am I being trolled right now? Anyway, that's it. I finished it. And I can't tell you any more than I told you before. The girl inherited the house from her dad's twin brother that nobody knew about because they were separated at birth. A lot of brides have died in this house. That's why it's called the Lost Bride house. It's called the Lost Bride trilogy as well. And we find out how she's connected to all the brides and all of that stuff. And she has a plan maybe for what to do. Not really a plan for the overarching storyline. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Apparently, because book 2 is coming out in October of this year. And then I'm assuming book 3 is coming out in October of next year. What? Who am I to do this? This is not okay. Anyway, I'm done with it. I thought I was picking an old book from Nora Roberts. Turned out I picked a brand new book. And so now I'm stuck in the middle of a trilogy. Anyway, this has been a lot of fun. What just happened? I can't wait to keep going and see what happens in the next episode and how many episodes it takes us to finish. These are going to start coming out less frequently because in June, I kind of need to take a break for this to do something else. So I will see you in the next video. Bye.